Hi everybody, this is Odd Samurai, and today I'm gonna be reacting to Chainsaw Man chapter 230. But before that, let's talk about 229. So thank you very much for telling me in the comments that the order of pages that I read the chapter in, specifically 6, 7, and I think 8 as well, were all just out of order. So that definitely messed with the way that I perceived Yoru's monologue there. And thankfully, uh, today I reread the chapter in the correct order, and this makes more sense to me now. So I think the reason Yoru is laughing at the beginning of the chapter is because she regrets having kept Asa alive all this time. She was like, oh, you know, I had this purpose for her and I couldn't even succeed at it. Man, I am foolish. Then Asa asks her, why are you still leaving me alive? And in the version that I read, the page when Yoru starts speaking after that was, Asa, the things you think are sins are nothing in a devil's eyes. But no, that's like 3 pages after that. So yeah, that made me think of like, oh, Yoru is like the way that she, like, I was just thinking, the things you think are sins. I thought like Yoru is referring to like the things she herself does that Asa sees as sins. But nope. Now that I have it, you know, all the pages in the correct order, I'm like, oh no. Yoru in this whole speech is talking about Asa herself. That bird whose body I stole at the outset. Even though it was a bird, I felt guilty for catching and eating worms, for an act of necessary for survival. What a stupid, arrogant, and foolish bird. I thought, like, yeah, it applied to Asa, but because of the order I had the pages in, I thought, like, it was Yoru also referring to the sins she's done. But considering that bird whose body I stole at the outset is the first page here, it just makes way more sense that no, the bird just represents Asa. If I empathize, if I'm able to bear that guilt too, then I can create stronger weapons. I tried and understand your guilt, Asa, but in the end I couldn't comprehend it. So that's the short and concise answer to Asa's question. You kept her all this time because she wanted stronger weapons, but also simply because she did have a desire to understand why or how humans feel guilt over a lot more things than devils do. But specifically, Asa's. Because she is very much prone to feel guilt over things that, well, she shouldn't, or rather, they're not really things that uh, I, how do I say it? Let's say it like Yoru said, for an act necessary for survival, the bird felt guilty. So now this makes me think of like Asa saving Yuko at the beginning of part 2. Or, I don't know. Oh, Asa tripping when she was looking for help when her dad was attacked by a devil. Yeah, that's a big one. Those are things that, were necessary for survival or to help someone else. And yet, Elsa feels guilty about it. And that's why this makes more sense. The things you think are sins are nothing in the devil's eyes. Yoru is not talking about anything that she herself did, she's just talking about Asa. So that's why so many people were saying, like, oh, the devil that has made Asa suffer so much could also be the person that frees Asa from this kind of mentality where she just wants to bear the burden of everything. And it's really not, what she should be doing. If that bird too had been able to fly thinking only happy thoughts, now I'm not sure how Yoru was going to end that sentence. Since at first I was so sure that the birds must be Asa and Yoru. I guess you could say it still works if I say, like, oh, if the bird had only been thinking only happy thoughts, then we could have gotten along. Maybe. But I think it could also just be Asa and Denji. Like, if she was only able to think happy thoughts, then she would have an easier time with her bond with him. Maybe. But yeah, I definitely like this speech more now that I've experienced that in the way that it was supposed to. Yoru is basically saying to Asa, all that stuff that you feel guilty about, well, you shouldn't be. You think too much about it. Like, yeah, it could go too far into the other direction, but considering how Asa was talking about herself before she tried to kill Yoru and herself, before Shi-chan was eaten, I think she really needed to hear this, actually. And I think also the symbolism of the bird, basically like if you let at least some of this fall from your back, you'll feel lighter and be able to fly. You know, you think your wings are broken, but actually you're just trying to fly with too much on your back. You're condemning yourself for trying to survive. When that's not, you know, good at all for you. Then the mentality that it's beneficial for you. And what do you know? A broken clock can be right once a year, and this time it happened for Yoru. But yeah, so for the rest of the chapter, I'll just hold my judgment and think that there's a chance that Denji, you know, there's more meaning to Denji's words and actions. So I won't say more on that. But as for Yoda's laugh at the end, I will say that it means like, oh, you know, you are as foolish as I thought. But it could also be a laugh of like seeing Denji like a kindred spirit of like, oh, you also are reined in by your desire and instincts. But let's get to chapter 230, eh? Titled Sex and Selection. Oh, also, I got spoiled that Fumiko will appear in the chapter, but I have no context for it, so. Yep. So Yoru's still laughing. Yoru's staring. Not Yoru. Denji's staring up at her. Why did you think I would avoid a dove? What about the sex? Answer me. I didn't think that Denji was sure that she would avoid it. I thought it was just a stroke of luck. One of my friends was this nasty devil who tried to kill me any chance she got, but she had a soft spot for animals. Power. So he did have a reasoning for baiting her with the dove. I hoped you'd be like her. Interesting reaction from Yoru there. Why? Why? Why did you hope I would be like her? So many questions from her. We get 2 panels of Denji thinking about it. 'Cause I was lonely and wanted a friend. Maybe. Why did you hope I would be like her? Because I wanted a friend and I was lonely. I think this tracks. I was thinking like Denji is still having in his mind present the, you know, a scene when we see Yoru telling him like, oh, I like you. When they're at the rooftop of the want to say Chinese food place, and Denji just burst out into tears. So I think this is him, like, hoping that Yoru meant it in a healthy way. Oh, that's actually really sad. After all, Denji doesn't really have friends right now. I don't like. I guess you could say Asa, but it's like, you know, like, I'm thinking of the case with Makima. Like, he was never able to get himself to hate Makima, and he knew that she didn't care one bit for him. And still, he managed to get the determination to kill her for the sake of humanity. But here, Denji doesn't really seem to have the same mindset in regards to Yoru. Even though he knows how dangerous Yoru is and what her goal is to have an endless war. He still doesn't want to get rid of her like he did with Makima. And I think the big difference is that with Makima, by the end, he was sure that she never once looked his way. But despite how fucked up Yoru is, he knows she likes him in her own very transactional and self-serving way. You're fine with being just friends? I want a friend I can have sex with. She laughs again. You really are a sex-obsessed ape. I hate Chainsaw Man, but I like you, Denji. Let's call a temporary truce. She scoops up some blood from somewhere nearby and is making him drink it so he can regenerate. I'll let you have sex with me. Asa gives her consent to. This motherfucker. Yeah, as we don't get a glimpse of what Asa is feeling, or thinking, or saying to her. Yeah, fucking right. Ugh. But of course, Denji takes Yoru by her word, and the Chainsaw Man form melts. He goes hell yeah as he hugs Yoru, and a bunch of devils appear. And both of them react to it. Oh, what kind of devil is this? I don't know. Like, there's just a bunch that just look like the fodder devils. But just because they look like it doesn't mean they are. They all look very bug-like. So I'm guessing they are either like um, under um, Locust command, or they're here because Locust was taken down, and now that spot in the hierarchy that they were occupying is now empty. But yeah, the devil that appears after the double page spread. Actually, I thought it was the same one in the first and third panel of that page. But no, there's three different devils. Alright. Okay. I like kind of looks like it could be Russia from the architecture, but I'm not sure. There's I'm gonna guess like a bug infestation, maybe locust. But it is a plague after all. Just going around. Oh, wait a minute. Next page shows that it's a bunch of bats. Wait, looking at the citizens. Maybe it's not Russia? Maybe it's India? Oh, well, this is where Fumiko comes in. I thought she was gonna be Japanese Fumiko, but nope. Also, we're finally getting a question answered. How do the Fumikos communicate? Do they have a mental link? Or do they have to actually pick up a phone and do it? And it seems like, yeah, they do need a phone. Gotcha. India Fumiko reporting in. This is bad, really bad. A boatload of bats are devouring people. Did not expect bats. But, has the Bat Devil been reincarnated? If so, why of all devils? Canada Fumiko reporting in. Massive insect swarms are eating folks over here too. Canada, eh? Okay. Wait. Insect swarms. So India is bats. I don't think bats are categorized as insects. So like, what is the correlation? Why is this happening? The higher a species' fertility, the more of its offspring get killed at birth. More of its offspring get killed. All right. Also, it is funny to see the difference in demeanor between the two Fumikos. Also, what language are they speaking in? I would guess they all know Japanese? So that's how they communicate? However, because lives now have no end, natural selection is no longer in play. All offspring now live forever. Gotcha. I get it now. I was like, why does this... How is this relevant? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. From now on, to fuel their reproduction will be eaten alive in little pieces and continue to live in pain and despair as the flesh and blood of bugs and beasts. Hello? Are you listening? Nope, the Fumiko has already been torn into little pieces. But Canada Fumiko doesn't really seem phased. Last year, when we Fumikos all gathered in the villa. What? Okay, so I'm guessing every year they all have a meeting and they have a villa for it. We talked a great deal while gazing at the fireplace. Okay. I was surprised that we all had different worst fears, even though we're all Fumiko. That is very fascinating. Other Fumikos answered with fears like sickness, people, and war. At the time, I couldn't decide on mine. But now, oh no, oh hell no. I have a phobia of cockroaches, please stop. So many of them. Denji, we're too low on blood, we need to flee. Denji? Like hell, we're gonna run away, right, Pochita? We're gonna finally get to have sex. If you're gonna get in our way, then. How is it a go? How does it go again? I get that it's a reference to chapter 1. He says that to the zombie Yakuza. And I'm pretty sure the part he's forgetting is die. But Shi-chan is still in his stomach, so he doesn't remember. But yeah, one of the devils is about to attack him, and he hasn't been transformed yet. Alright, and that's the end of the chapter. Huh. Well, that is indeed disappointing. And by that I mean the part where Denji just believes Yoru about Asa giving her consent, and instead of being like, yeah, well, let me talk to her then to make sure, he just goes for it, which is what I was fearing. Like, yeah, that sucks. Though I do think it's important to note that Fujimoto did write it as such to have them be interrupted, but like it only stopped because they were interrupted. Denji has not changed his mind. Oh my god, wait. Oh my goodness, I almost oh wait, I completely missed the first time reading the second to last page. But Asa actually came out. She's in control of the body right now. Oh, okay. So Asa can actually tell Denji, hopefully, how she feels about all of this. And I do think that if he knows that she's not giving consent, then he wouldn't do it. But it's, like I said, still doesn't look good on him. Like, he knows how Yoru treats Asa and how selective she is about caring on what would make Asa sad, to say the least. So yeah, I really hope that this interruption by devils won't take up a lot, and instead we focus more on Asa and Denji talking about this. Like, there is a possibility that Yoru will just change back soon in the next chapter. But like, why have Asa back if you're not gonna have her switching be relevant to what's happening between Denji and Yoru, you know? So I am gonna try and get my hopes up for this, but not too much. But yeah, Asa is trying to talk to him, and Denji didn't even look at Asa, and he just is running with what Yoru told her. So it's not um, uh, looking good, but like I said, the fact that Fujimoto went out of his way to interrupt them with these devils makes me think that uh, this is not gonna happen. But yeah, am I surprised that Denji wants a friend he can have sex with? Nope. Like, considering, especially with Yoru, being like, you can be that. Yeah, like, Denji hasn't really had any healthy sexual encounters. The closest one was Power, and that was consensual. So, but at the same time, it was, a one time thing that it was very transactional. But it is the only one that Denji has. So I'm not also like surprised that Denji would make the connection here. But man, I'm just like, Denji said that he was gonna kill Yoru for Asa because Yoru has making Asa's life impossible. And when he suggested to Asa that her and Yoru could be friends, Asa told him straight up, like, that's not something that we can be. So I thought he finally understood that when they were talking in their little inner world. That was like, okay, Yoru is preventing you from wanting to live and uh, starting anew with, hope for the world. Then I'll murderize her for you. Like, where did that sentiment go? I just, I just want to know. Because if he wants a friend, then Asa can be that friend. But she does not want to have sex with him. So he's only interested in what Yoru has to say about that at the moment. But yeah, I do like that Denji explains, why did you hope that would be like her, like Power. Because I was lonely and I wanted a friend. Through all of this, Denji primarily wants connection and vulnerability from uh, sexual intimacy. But he's just time and time again only been shown that the only way to get that is through sexual violence. So the way that Yoru acts is just very normalized to him. So if he thinks that Yoru likes him, doesn't matter what way, shape, or form. He just wants any affection he can get because he's starving for it. And he's been what's the word? He's been conditioned. He's been conditioned to want sexual acts regardless of if, you know, what kind of relationship he has with that person. And because, you know, his consent has never mattered before, he sees this as completely fine. Like, oh, you know, I'm actually being asked if I want to or not. That's great. But it's so insidious that Yoru actually uses the word consent when referring to, when telling Denji, oh, what Asa wants. It's, oh man. Oh, I really want Yoru gone. Like, can she be killed already? Has she not harmed these two enough? I also really like the Fumiko section. It wasn't long, but I liked seeing how this whole operation works. And yeah, very fascinating when she's like, I was surprised that we all had different worst fears, even though we're all Fumiko. So this really adds to her and what her sense of individuality means. I thought she really, or at least, you know, still that's how she sees herself, but she doesn't want to. Like, oh, there's no individuality within me. I'm just a collective. And I'll just do whatever it takes. You know, be the perfect public safety agent. be just one of the many weapons they have at their disposal to survive. But here we can see that actually each Fumiko is capable of showing uh, different characteristics within each other. And that's, yeah, very interesting. I mean, just alone, the fact that India Fumiko was like freaking out, whereas Canada Fumiko was just chilling, already is like, yeah, they are very much uh, capable of acting differently and feeling differently. It's not just, you know, like uh, an army of Fumikos that just all would be able to walk in unison, uniformly, without no one walking our step or doing, a chanting and no one saying it wrong or saying it out of tune. They do have their own, sense of self, because at the end of the day, the moment they were created, they went away from the OG Fumiko and they've lived different experiences. And just that alone is enough to make them just different enough to technically be their own person. And that's so interesting to me. Fumiko, after chapter, what was it, 212? She's really been in my mind. The higher species fertility, the more of its offspring get called at birth. However, because lives now have no end, natural selection is no longer in play. All offsprings now live forever. I wonder if this concept applies to the Fumikos at all. Maybe. I'm just not sure how. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the chapter. So if you have something to say, leave it in the comments below. I'll see you till next chapter. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Till next time, see ya.